The opinions expressed by the hosts and guests of this program are not the opinions of the management, staff, and advertisers of this station. Please direct all criticism, concern, and adulation to the hosts of this program.
Welcome to Alabama Politics. This week, I am Dale Jackson. I'm a radio talk show host, and you can hear my shows Monday through Friday from 5 to 9 a.m. on WVNN in Huntsville, and then from 10 until 11, you can hear me on Talk 99.5 in Birmingham, News Radio 1440 down in Montgomery, and then a replay of that show at 3 o'clock on the UMP in Huntsville as well. Mecca Music is with us. She is just as busy, just has way less radio shows. She is the CEO of 256today.com, smart news for smart people. And we've got a good one for you today. Congressman Mo Brooks will be with us here in just a little bit. And then I've got a parting shot. We'll talk a little bit about that IVF stuff brought up at the debate and the reality of the situation as it actually stands. Right now, though, let's go ahead and get to the 2-minute warning. Okay, this debate finally happened. Now we have a challenge for another debate. I guess we'll get into that in just a second here as well. But as of right now, I don't think there's any question about it. I thought Donald Trump actually pulled this thing out. But I was completely wrong in the minds of most pollsters, people who had taken polls, and others. If you love Trump, you love what he did. If you hate him, you hate what he did. Those who didn't watch got no answer. But those who did watch were actually kind of split. I was very way off on this. The pundits had one point of view, and the undecideds had another. So this thing's all over the road. Who won, Becca? I mean, that's the easiest way to look at this.
Okay, so I agree with you. There's I think a lot of people agreed there wasn't a lot of information, but most independent polls I've seen have said Harris won.
Yeah, the polls, like scientific polls.
Including many Republicans have also come out and said that Harris won. Now, what does that mean, though?
Yeah.
And I would agree, because a lot of people are saying that it was less hurtful to Trump and better for Harris, if that makes sense. I didn't say that right, but you know what I'm saying. It benefited her, but it didn't hurt Trump.
Right. I mean, I'm not a super Trump fan, but I was a fan of him bulldozing through this. I mean, I actually like the way he was handling that a little bit, but I can see that's not everyone.
But you like chaos and stuff. But right, I think the Trump that the Republicans wanted was the more measured Trump. You know, she had a game plan to get under his skin. And it seems like at times she was effective in doing that.
Yeah, look, I would say this. If we were looking at her faces on a Republican female candidate, the reaction would be much different. The media would be like, oh, what is wrong with her? Why is she making all these faces? So that was kind of buffoonish in my opinion. But I think there's no question about it. She did what she needed to do.
She did.
She said nothing. She meant nothing. And she got...
Well, she had like some good words, like, you know...
he's the one who said I'm speaking, which I thought was very funny.
That was funny, but I don't know unless you were following it. If you appreciated that.
She did not get pushed, just like on all the other stuff she did. I mean, it was 3-on-1. There's no other way you can look at this. Well, the
IVF thing. I mean, because they did a good job of trumping Trump, right? Fact checking.
Fact-trumping.
I can't talk today.
It was 3-on-1.
But like the IVF thing, I mean, he has come out, numerous Republicans have come out, and they're in favor. But I know you're going to talk about it,
later,
but that was the thing.
You can go further, the very fine people thing, that whole thing, everyone knows about that. But they just let it go. But maybe that was a mistake of putting someone in her sorority on there. Like Lindsay Davis was. What a mistake on that.
I didn't know that, really.
I warned you guys about David Muir. All right, moving on. Let's talk about these Haitians. Are dogs delicious? That is the question we're all asking ourselves if we're insane. That came up during the debate. There's, I think, a good sign to say that maybe it's not as insane as we all think it might be hearing it. Oh, you shouldn't bring that up at the debate. What was one of the top things searched after this debate? Are people eating dogs in Ohio? That was one of the first things that was searched. And I'll tell you, I think J.D. Vance had a pretty good answer for this. He's like, you guys are talking about it now when you weren't talking about it before. And that's what I guess he was trying to do. Trump is a blusterer, a BSer, a liar. I mean, that's just the way it is. And I'll admit that if someone's going to vote for him. Will Kamala Harris supporters admit that about her? Probably not. They're going to pretend that she's telling the truth. This whole thing about the Haitians, there are so many different issues. We're seeing it here in Alabama. We're going to talk about that. But the dog thing, I think, is probably a step too far for most people. But it is drawing attention to the larger issue, and I would say that's a net win for Trump. You can ignore my our dog's delicious question.
I hate that.
But you can ignore
topic.
that.
That's
you can ignore
terrible.
that. You can
I
ignore
wish that was not part
you can
of that.
ignore that. But
not part of that.
answer me this: how much did you cringe when it came up?
A lot.
Okay, so you had a problem with it.
Yeah, this topic or when he brought it up?
Yes.
Both.
Yeah. go with both.
Listen, I think that I don't know if it was a good move for him. I understand what you're saying. Everybody's talking about it now. I mean, if it's an issue, I guess I don't think it was the smartest move. That was me, because like you said, it gave you one of these.
No, look. Here's the deal. There's a problem with this issue. No question about it. The governor of Ohio, whose daughter who has passed away was a Haitian. She went and did Haitian missionary work and stuff like this. I mean, so he's got a connection to this. He spent $2.5 million recently sending cops and medical personnel into that community because they're having an issue. That's what they're trying to highlight. Nobody was suggesting that they're eating dogs on the town square. But that's also not the standard in which we should be viewing this. Is this an issue? Could it be talked about in a different way? And the answer to that is yes. It shouldn't be being talked about this way, but it should be being talked about.
Well, as somebody, as a Republican, don't you kind of wish he had taken more of Adderholt's tone when he was talking about the work visas and Haitian
I
immigrants?
wish he would have said that.
Because that was a very measured, intelligent, questioning of the current situation.
He's throwing the flame out there. And then he talked about the medical issues and all the other stuff as well. That was just the thing that, there are not dogs being eaten. Like, just the smugness of it. And look, again, Trump versus them, I think to his people worked out. This is a real issue, and we're going to talk about it here in just a second. I think the locals in the media, I think, are really dropping the ball on this across the board. Let's talk about that here for a second. Why is there a disconnect between people in Springfield, Ohio, and the media there, and the local officials there? Why is there a disconnect in Albertville? Why is there a disconnect in Athens? Why is there a disconnect, especially in Sylacauga, where a hilarious moment took place where the mayor or the city council president was reading questions that were submitted, and one of the questions was, who is John Galt? She had no idea who that was. It didn't get the reference, which I think is just hilarious. Obviously, the reference, for those who don't know, Atlas Shrugged, basically John Galt goes underground, disappears, and all the producers disappear, and you have some problems. That's the argument they're making. The argument they're also making is, why are we having to subsidize this labor and all the problems that come with bringing in this cheaper labor with medical costs, as we saw in Ohio, with policing costs? We talk about the translation stuff, the French Creole. This is a real problem for the Sylacauga police. They're having to call the Atlanta consulate for Haiti or use Google Translate or all these other things. Why is there seem to be a disconnect between your average citizen, the person who talks about this on talk radio, online, I'm not saying those are the average citizens, but at a diner, and the local elected officials who are like, no, this is good, stop complaining?
I think a lot of elected officials have recognized that there are some stresses in the local communities and the education system, things like that. There are resources are being stretched, but also they keep saying that this is a special designation under the Biden administration. These are legal work visas, and it's out of their hands.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think everyone basically admits that these people show up at the border, and the border patrol goes, "What are you guys doing?" And they say, "Asylum," and they go, "Get in here, come on." And that's basically how this whole thing has gone down.
That's exactly it.
And there's too much of that. And I think the disconnect is why people look at Trump and look at guys like Trump who talk about it in the other way. Because what you have is the measured politician who sits there and says, well, we have to accept everyone, and everything needs to be fine, and everything needs to be wonderful.
I think a lot of people are saying this is above their above their level.
But they're also speaking.
This is a federal decision.
They're trying to be so very proper and politically correct about this. Well, Trump comes in and goes, they're eating your dogs. And I think that connects you. We can laugh.
It makes an impact. We
can laugh at that. I'm just saying that there's a method to that madness. I would prefer the madness not be there, but that is not the world in which we live in. Okay, so we have to look at it that way. The disconnect, and here's another thing. Everything is nationalized. Local politics don't matter. I mean, just a simple fact of the matter.
How dare you?
I'm just telling you.
No.
I've been doing this for 17 years. I've been doing it for 17 years. There has never been
absolutely
less.
not.
Listen to me. There's never been less local media coverage of elections. I'm telling you this. I do multiple talk shows. I talk about local politics way less than I ever have. I'm telling you.
That's what my favorite thing
Because
about you
it's
and
boring
your show.
and nobody cares.
No, that is where you can have the most impact.
Okay.
This is where you can make a difference in your community.
That is a
it's
nice
through local.
speech.
It's
and
true.
I agree with you. However, the only reason I will ever talk about Madison is if Mayor Finley punches somebody in the face. Because it being awesome and successful is boring. And I'm just giving you the gist of this.
So awful.
I know you hate it. I'm just explaining
it.
Here, you want to give you a perfect example? Okay, here we go. Tab Bowling is a terrible mayor. Let's talk about the city of Decatur here for a second and talk about what's going on there with the next topic, because this is a disaster. Could it be any more embarrassing? I don't know, Chandler Bing, but it probably could be. It is absolutely horrendous. The mayor there, who has been a complete embarrassment on this entire Stephen Perkins, I don't care what side of the issue you are on, this guy has been a disaster. And now he was having secret discussions with people there saying, maybe I'll resign if you guys will stop protesting. Are the protests even still going on? I haven't heard about these things in forever, but the simple fact is he talked to them and then they went and leaked that to the press, sort of that he thinks as a sort of a poison pill, the Decatur Daily, which nobody reads. They were talking about that, and that he viewed as I'm not going to say, I said poison pill, so I guess we'll go with that. He viewed it as a poison pill for the discussion and said he's going to hang around for the rest of the term. Now he's complaining that citizens have the right to come and speak at the city council meeting. They're giving them the microphone and the cameras. What do we talk about? Disconnect? Why is there such a disconnect? This is a perfect example. A guy who's trying to play it down the middle while everyone else is just destroying him and running him over, whether it's Hunter Peppers or the protesters. Could Decatur be any more embarrassing on this issue?
Andre Chandler. That was
I already made that joke.
It was funny. I know. I just want to say it was funny.
Okay.
So listen, go back a little bit on the issue. We're talking about an officer-involved shooting of Steve Perkins. There have been massive protests in the city of Decatur for quite some time.
Outside the mayor's house.
Outside the mayor's house. I mean, it has been it's a sad situation for all involved. I mean, it truly, truly is. Could it have been handled better by city leadership? Most certainly.
Yeah, he tried to placate them, and they ran him over.
So now he's going to stay until
hard times. That's where we're at. Decatur.
So the deal, the leaked part that you say nobody reads Decatur Daily, but you wouldn't know unless they had printed this.
Saw it on Twitter.
Okay. That's where they got it.
So
the point is though that he had been talking with them, was like, will the protest stop if I step down? I feel like his heart was in the right place. He's trying to get things to move along. Now he's going to stay until the end of his term. This will be a next summer election. There will be new leadership in the city of Decatur if he does not.
And this will be a huge part of it.
Absolutely.
This is all going to be a huge part of it.
And honestly though, you can't just take away this issue. But Mayor Bowling was the first mayor to get reelected in Decatur, and gosh, I can't remember how many years though. I mean, he had been.
He was fine until this.
Yeah.
This just showed him to be weak. And I let me apologize to the Decatur Daily, but also back this up. They did a story on me on Above the Fold, where they tried to make it like I'm the one who leaked the tape, because I was, and they did all this stuff, and they tried to make it this big thing, right? Not a single person contacted me about that story.
Okay.
Okay, and not a single person. If I'm like walking through a shot of some random news footage, I get contacted. Not a single person contacted me. So
okay, I understand that. Okay. That they should have contacted you.
Back to music. Dale Jackson, she's going to yell at me in between the segments here. I'm almost positive. Mo Brooks will be with us here in just a little bit. Stay tuned.
You work hard to earn little escapes, because doing your best means being your best. So let us help you discover your best at Premier Dental Spa. With our unique blend of cosmetic, dental, and spa-like aesthetic services, you'll leave feeling relaxed, refreshed, and renewed. Make sure the best you is here to stay, and book your appointment online today at premierdentalspa.com.
Hey folks, Dale Jackson here for University Kia. This is my son Grant. He's a busy guy. Chess, piano, basketball, wrestling, baseball, you name it. There's probably some stuff that I missed that my wife will be mad about, but here's the thing. It's important to have reliable transportation. And my friends at University Kia, they take great care of me. I've been driving Sportages my entire life. My wife drives a Telluride now, and it is the perfect vehicle for the busy family. Folks, University Kia, let them take care of you like they've taken care of my family. That's University Kia. Learn more at universitykia.com.
Tom, Grant and Dale Jackson sent you.
Want fun, safe, intelligent fitness programming? Want to build muscular strength, cardiovascular endurance, drastically improve range of motion and mobility, and learn proper nutrition to fuel your life with energy and emotional health? Well, come find out why Iron Tribe Fitness is ranked one of the top 5 fitness programs in America. Come find out why personal training and intentionally working on your current movement patterns individually is not only important, it's just another core value that separates Iron Tribe Fitness from other fitness facilities.
To learn how to get your 2-week free pass, go to irontribefitness.com.
Well, welcome back to Alabama Politics this week. I am Dale Jackson. Thank you very much for being here. Mecca Music joins us as well, and our guest this week is former Congressman Mo Brooks from the 5th Congressional District there in Huntsville. Congressman Brooks, there has been the debate. Now we're being told Donald Trump says no more debate. So, of course, we're going to see about a week of coverage or two of Donald Trump's chicken. Doesn't want to do it again. Doesn't have any interest in this. I think Donald Trump should do another debate and kind of wash this out of a lot of people's mouths. What are your thoughts on that?
If I were Donald Trump, I would not engage in another debate because he's losing on 2 issues during these debates. One issue is he's been claiming that Kamala Harris doesn't have the intellect to do the job. Well, Kamala Harris has been able to establish to the satisfaction of most voters that she can do the job. Now, whether we agree with the job she wants to do, that's a whole other issue. But that falls into Harris's victory category. The second thing that helped Harris is that Donald Trump kept going off on these wild, somewhat bizarre tangents like eating cats and you name it. And that doesn't help Donald Trump because now he is the older candidate. And clearly, from my observations of him over the years, he's not as sharp now as he was 6 years ago in 2016. But that's to be expected as you're nearing 80. I wish it wasn't that way, but Father Time catches us all sooner or later.
Congressman Brooks, let me ask you a question about the debate as well. A lot of the reactions did firmly say Harris had won, but let's talk about the impact of the debate. How much do you think it moves the needle?
A little bit, but in a real close race, a little bit in favor of one candidate or the other did make all the difference. I've only seen 2 qualitative polls that have come out. I mean, the kind of things that you look at where they're polling thousands of people that included only people after the debate. One is Morning Consult. Kamala Harris went from 4 to 5 points. The other one is Reuters Ipsos. With Reuters Ipsos, she went from 3 to 5 points. So in one poll, she gained 2 points, and the other poll, she gained 1 point. And the reason it's important to use the same polling firm is, they're using the same methodology. It's not really fair, by way of example, to compare a Rasmussen Reports poll to a Pew Research poll because they use different methodologies. And those different methodologies can result in different results. But if you have the same pollsters using the same methodology showing a shift, then that carries more weight than if you compare 2 pollsters totally unrelated to each other. They use different ways of conducting the polls.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right about that. And I think one of the things that I think people who watch have to understand is, 60 million people watch this thing, right? There's 160 million people that are expected to vote or whatever number. It's significantly larger. But I think the after effect, all the clips they see, all the other stuff, social media, and all these other things, I think play a role into this as well. And the drumbeat by the narrative is Donald Trump got curb stomped. I mean, that's basically how this is being played here. And I think the clips they play to kind of back these things up, they're not watching the entire debate, the 3-on-1 that took place there. They're not seeing that. Instead, they're just seeing parts of it. And I think that has a bigger impact on it as well. You've done a lot of debates, maybe not on this stage, obviously. But when you did those debates, did you ever feel like it was you versus the moderators as well?
Usually, because usually the moderators were liberals. Now, what I ended up doing, and I don't know why the Trump campaign has not done this, is I insisted on, during my later years in politics, as a congressman in particular, I insisted on the debates being actual debates, where the moderator wasn't a moderator was a rule keeper and a timekeeper. And that was the only role of the moderator. Otherwise, the moderator kept quiet. So I could say anything I wanted to say. I could ask any questions I wanted to ask, and my opponent in the debate could do the same thing. That's where you get a true test of the abilities and knowledge and public policy positions of the two different candidates without the news media trying to help one candidate or hurt the other.
I have less of a question, more of a statement. I'm pretty sure both of us, and once together, moderated one of the debates that Congressman Brooks took part in, and I think we did a fantastic job. That's all I'm saying.
I don't remember that at all.
Wait a minute. That has to do with the strategy of the campaign. I wanted good people. Okay, Donald Trump wanted bad people, both against Joe Biden and against Kamala Harris. And I think the Trump campaign has made two horrific strategic errors with these two debates. First, beating Joe Biden like a drum, which Donald Trump did, cost him 5 points in the polls because the Democrats were smart enough to change out Joe Biden for Kamala Harris. So that was a huge strategic error to schedule that debate so early, giving the Democrats enough time to replace a failing nominee. Donald Trump should have insisted on later debates where the Democrats did not have any chance of replacing Joe Biden. And then this one with ABC, Donald Trump's campaign chose to make it a 3-on-1. I don't think that was smart.
Yeah, I don't think that was smart either. They should have had me doing that debate. It would have been a lot better. No question about it. All right, let's talk about this other issue. You were very hawkish on illegal immigration when you were in the United States Congress, and you talked about it, I think, a lot. One of the things now that's happening is we're doing this thing where we're saying you're putting people's lives at risk by saying these things. And I think that's always such a cheesy thing where there's no evidence that it's true. But Karine Jean-Pierre has said it here recently as well, that you're putting people at risk by criticizing, by saying things like the eating of the cats and criticizing them taking over Springfield, Ohio, or Albertville or Sylacauga or any of this. Are you surprised this issue isn't a bigger issue in this election? I know it's up there, but are you surprised it's not bigger than it is?
No, I'm not surprised. Donald Trump is in a difficult position. While he was able to create an image of being for border security while he was a president, he failed in getting the wall built. And additionally, towards the end of his 4-year term, not a lot of people know this, but the White House legislative shop was lobbying us congressmen and senators for amnesty, which is the exact opposite of border security. And then most recently, Donald Trump publicly stated that his idea of border security is just to make more of them legal. And if you make them legal, well, then they're not illegal. You therefore reduce the amount of illegal aliens in America. Well, that kind of amnesty on the one hand, or just legalizing the entry into the United States on the other hand, that's the wrong way to go. You're still hurting our blue-collar workers who are suffering the most from lost jobs and suppressed wages.
Congressman, would you mind speaking on the topic of this special designation that was put in place under the Biden administration that allows many Haitian workers and other workers to come here on work visas?
Well, we've had special designations of one kind or another, depending on the circumstances and depending on the nation, for a long time. The difference is the Biden administration is using those tools in their toolbox to dramatically increase the influx of foreign individuals when America, in my judgment, has already passed its capacity to absorb people from other nations. You know, we have far and away the most generous legal immigration system on the planet. Nobody comes close to how compassionate we are considering the plight of others in other nations. But there are limits on how many we can absorb at any one time, and the Biden administration is just blowing through those limits.
I want to ask you this question here. You brought up legal, illegal, and Becca brought it up as well. You used to hear even Republican congressmen say, we need more legal immigration, not illegal immigration. Like they would almost accept sort of like a trade-off on it. I'm not talking about the deal making that the Trump administration tried to do towards the end to get what they wanted on other things where they would offer up amnesty and stuff like that. But they would say that. I don't hear that anymore. And I don't hear that anymore at all. But I think people are turned off on immigration as a whole based on, as you said, the capacity in which we've gone. I think we can all agree that there are legal immigration issues that we would accept for certain jobs and things of that nature. It's not for chicken plants. I don't think most people view it that way, but that's where we're at this point. Do you agree with that? Is that where the problem lies?
Well, first, the Democrats carte blanche are for open borders. Okay, so I'm not going to talk about them for the moment. I'm going to talk about Republicans. About 80% of Republicans, their version of border security is just to legalize it. If it's legalized, then there's no border security problem because we don't have illegal aliens. And they do this because they're chasing the campaign dollars, and the huge super PACs throughout America that profit from cheap foreign labor, legal or illegal, they have the Republican Party by the throat, and they own about 70-80% or so of our elected officials. And I'll give you one quick example. Abortion, Tommy Tuberville, national defense. He was fighting like the Dickens, and he was using the tools that he has as a United States Senator to impact that issue. Now, can you name one congressman or senator from Alabama that is using the same kind of force, the same kind of power to try to secure our southern border and protect both blue-collar and white-collar workers from suppressed wages that profit these special interest groups? I can't name one. And 8 out of 9 are Republicans. But you saw Tommy Tuberville go the limit in that fight with national defense and abortion dollars. Now, do you see any of that from any of our congressmen or senators from Alabama? And the answer is no, and that's most disappointing. I'm not talking about uttering words. Sure. I'm talking about fighting so hard that the other side actually gets mad at you and starts doing the things that they did to Tommy Tuberville, and that defense dollar is going to pay for abortion fight that Tommy Tuberville fought so well.
All right, there we go. Mo Brooks, thank you very much, former congressman from the 5th Congressional District. We appreciate you being here. The Mecca Music's about to leave, so the show's going to get a lot better. It's Alabama Politics this week.
You work hard to earn little escapes because doing your best means being your best. So let us help you discover your best at Premier Dental Spa. With our unique blend of cosmetic, dental, and spa-like aesthetic services, you'll leave feeling relaxed, refreshed, and renewed. Make sure the best you is here to stay and book your appointment online today at premierdentalspa.com.
Hey folks, Dale Jackson here for University Kia. This is my son Grant. He's a busy guy. Chess, piano, basketball, wrestling, baseball, you name it. There's probably some stuff that I missed that my wife will be mad about, but here's the thing. It's important to have reliable transportation. And my friends at University Kia, they take great care of me. I've been driving Sportages my entire life. My wife drives a Telluride now, and it is the perfect vehicle for the busy family. Folks, University Kia, let them take care of you like they've taken care of my family. That's University Kia. Learn more at universitykia.com.
Tom, Grant and Dale Jackson sent you.
Want fun, safe, intelligent fitness programming? Want to build muscular strength, cardiovascular endurance, drastically improve range of motion and mobility, and learn proper nutrition to fuel your life with energy and emotional health? Well, come find out why Iron Tribe Fitness is ranked one of the top 5 fitness programs in America. Come find out why personal training and intentionally working on your current movement patterns individually is not only important, it's just another core value that separates Iron Tribe Fitness from other fitness facilities.
To learn how to get your 2-week free pass, go to irontribefitness.com.
Well, welcome back to Alabama Politics This Week. I'm Dale Jackson. Thank you very much for being here. We're about to get in to the parting shot. We'll talk about the Alabama IVF issue. But before we do that, let me remind you about YellowHammerNews.com. Go there. Sign up for my email blast, the 7 things you should be talking about today. Every day, Monday through Friday, you'll get those 7 things delivered directly to your email inbox, and you'll know the 7 things you should be talking about that day. YellowHammerNews.com. Right now, though, let's go ahead and get to that parting shot. Well, Alabama made the stage at the debate. So my parting shot this week is directed at everyone talking about this Alabama IVF issue in the way Kamala Harris kind of talked about it, and the folks on ABC News kind of talked about it. Let's remember, and I think Trump nailed this, let's remember, as soon as this became an issue inside the state of Alabama, the supermajority Republican legislature that is controlled by the more conservative wing of the Republican Party, they went and said, okay, this IVF ruling is crazy. We need to make it so where these guys feel comfortable operating again instead of shutting down out of an abundance of caution, because that's what actually happened. Nobody banned this or anything like that. There was just a little change in the law that made them feel uncomfortable, and the legislature came in and within weeks fixed it. And that's exactly what they're supposed to do. J.D. Vance, Katie Britt, 2 United States senators, tried to pass a bill that said anyone that did away with IVF in their state would lose Medicare funding. That's hardly an anti-IVF position. Democrats voted against it because it wasn't pro-abortion enough. They had their own bill that added abortion to it, and that Republicans voted against it because it was too pro-abortion. That's what actually happened on the issue. Anyone telling you anything else about this is lying to you, and you should treat them as liars because that's what they are. And thank you very much for being here. Thank you very much for watching Alabama Politics This Week and listening all over the state of Alabama. We'll be back next week.